Hey there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So, the topic for today's webinar is very interesting and concurrent to all of us working in healthcare and technology. It's how AI platforms and healthcare policy shifts are transforming the payer ecosystem. And we have a fantastic lineup of speakers. We have Priya Saini. She is Vice President at Everest Group for Healthcare, and she'll be talking through some of the trends and micro trends in the current environment. We have Dave Mika. He is Senior Vice President of Business Operations at Independent Health, and he'll be sharing with us some interesting real world cases and enlightening us with his journey with policy changes. And we also have Nagraj. He is the General Manager of Government Business at Wipro, and he'd be talking about how AI and platforms are reshaping payer transformation. And we have Samantha, who's also General Manager at Wipro and a segment leader for platform solutions at Wipro. And he'd be enlightening us with his real world insights as well. So welcome everyone. And to start things off, I'd hand it over to Priya. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Shivani, and thanks for sharing the screen and that quick introduction. This was really helpful. Hello, everyone, and let's maybe get started with some of the industry challenges, opportunities, what we are really seeing happening in the payer ecosystem. And needless to say, but some of the challenges around how payer margins are really going down, and from sitting at say 4-5%, we've really come down to say 2.53%. So we are really looking at lots of those challenges which are not just related to say the care costs coming down, but also to some of the granular things like why is the care cost really going so high up for us, and why are we facing some of those scalability issues, etc. We are also looking at an environment there are actually a lot of regulatory changes. If you see how the big beautiful bill has really made an impact, the Medicaid costs have really shortened down, because of which we are also looking at the premiums, etc., going up. All in all, it would not be unfair to say that we are really looking at an environment where at one side of the coin there is the changing customer expectations, movement towards a more value-based care kind of an environment, and on the other side, we are also looking at squeezing profit margins. We are looking at the changing regulatory environment. And I'm sure the questions from most of our attendees are going to be around what is the way out? How do things really look like over the next few months, years, etc.? And what is it that can really make a significant change? So, Shivani, if we can move on also to the next slide that we have for today. So let me actually start getting into what I hear a lot in my conversations around what is it that's keeping payers up at night? And that is a question that we commonly ask when we are meeting a lot of the pairs. And specifically, if I go around, what are some of the major issues that we're still facing today? A lot of the systems are still fragmented and outdated. And the challenges that we still face with a lot of these legacy systems is that every time we have to increase our scale, the legacy platforms don't really provide the opportunity for that. All the way requiring us to really increase the number of FTs, members, etc. It's not really those easy on those platforms. What it also means is that there's so much of data that is sitting within the different lines of businesses across the different platforms on your member engagement, sales, billing, and probably the one problem which we face very, very often is that clinical data, claims data, data sitting across the different modules of member engagement, sales, billing, etc., and even across different lines of businesses, be it your Medicare Advantage and the other lines, etc. You're not really able to integrate a lot of it. And honestly, as of now, if you really see, not really having that 360-degree member view really inhibits the ability to not just make an impact on the engagement side of things, but also has a follow-up impact in how care is getting delivered to them or how claims are getting processed in the way. And the regulatory environment, that's where we had started our conversation around. But in a healthcare kind of an industry where regulations are ever evolving and some of them can really come in, within a few months, etc., and could have a lot of changes in the fundamental way in which payers and providers are working, complicated compliance, evolving mandates, and not being able to feed them into our existing platforms, needless to say, continues to be a really big problem for each one of us. What it really means in the current scenario is that we are looking at an environment where our costs are also increasing because of some of these administrative inefficiencies The customer experience is definitely very disjointed. There is still a lot of manual work that we have to do because the existing platforms cannot really, the legacy platforms cannot really allow for the kind of automation and AI that would really want that we would really want to adopt. And then the higher short administrative overheads is an additional thing that we are looking, along with obviously the increasing medical loss ratio, which in itself continues to be a huge challenge. So let's talk specifically about, how some of these challenges kind of differ when it comes to the larger healthcare payers versus some of the mid-sized as well as the smaller ones. So again, if I move on to what my next slide has got to say here, when we're looking at some of the larger healthcare payers, Shivani, maybe if we can we move on to the next one? Yeah. So talking about some of the larger healthcare payers here, I think some of the challenges around a lots of those legacy systems are kind of there, which, and we spoke about the scalability, high cost issues, etc. Probably something that a lot of the larger healthcare payers are looking at is, can I really provide that kind of an integrated engagement, integrated care, which is deriving everything from your clinical as well as your claims data? When I'm looking at my claims, when I'm trying to do, say, real-time claims adjudication, do I even have all the data that is required to process that claims? Or even if I'm thinking about, say, prior authorization that's happening more in real time, it still all the way goes back to my data interoperability, when a lot of these cases our current platforms are not really kind of allowing us to. And needless to say, the manual processing, which is so high, leading to a lot of downstream burden and admin cost, which is increasing. The challenge kind of becomes even more prominent on the smaller and the mid-sized ones because the capital investment tends to be relatively more restricted, which means that the investment which are going to happen in technology and platforms in itself is going to be relatively lesser. We are also looking at people or members who are being targeted here who would actually need more personalized services and better whole person care, better care management policies or population health management things related to them. And going back to the limited ability to invest in newer technology platforms also means that when it comes to member satisfaction, we are looking at delivering it without really adoption of a lot of high technology, when in itself becomes very challenging. And then the bigger issues which are going to be around that, the AI adoption is fairly limited. There is very less resources to actually even invest into AI and automation, which inhibits further the ability to process the claims, the denials on the claim side, huge error rates, etc. All of it directly having an impact on the revenue figures, etc. Um, let's talk about how do we really want some of these things to shape out over the next 3 to 5 years, and some of it is going to be an impact of what are the macro forces at play, which is how the environment is going to shape out, and we cannot really control. But then there is also a vision on what is really going to happen in the payer market. So Shivani, again, if we move on to our next slide, I believe some of these things we spoke about, but the big beautiful bill, the way in which the Medicaid spending is going to go down, the premiums might have to increase. The cost of treatment is definitely increasing a lot. The customer expectations have evolved a lot, and those siloed datas, not able to service the members with the kind of experience that is required. The whole value-based care shift requires us to move towards more outcome-based model, which is not going to be just a shift coming in the pricing models that we are evolving, but it requires a significant change also in terms of how we are looking at our claims, how we are looking at our care, etc. And then the cybersecurity risks, etc., also mean that we need systems that can look at more proactive compliance and resilience. In terms of claims adjudication, uh, something that we hear very often, we are definitely moving towards a more real-time claims adjudication thing. So we've seen so many of the large healthcare payers come together and talk about things like, can we really make our prior authorizations faster? Can we move from those 1 week authorizations to those 72-hour ones? Can we look at that data interoperability really happening, going back to the point around the unified digital ecosystems, which would still be the cornerstone of all the other things? there is going to be still more proactive compliance and resilience required because regulatory tech needs to evolve, and our existing platforms, maybe in a lot of cases, cannot really take care of those regulatory things. In terms of the care ecosystem, also, lots and lots of players over the next 1 year are definitely going to double down a lot more in this area, which is going to go back to, say, the pre-COVID days, your preventive healthcare coming together with your population health, etc. And then I guess fundamentally sitting at the bottom of all of this and enabling it is the analytics or the AI layer, which is going to enable all of that. And for that, we might have to need to look at modernizing a lot of our current platforms, which are kind of legacy and cannot support a lot of the future shifts that are really going to come in the industry. So I know that was a monologue, but we'll share it to the next speaker here before we wait for some questions from our audience.
Yeah, thank you, Priya, once again for setting the stage and sharing some valuable insights into the industry challenges or the headwinds and the opportunities for us to, resolve some of those, address some of those. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nagaraj Bhogshetty. I lead the Wipro's U.S. government healthcare business, primarily focused on Medicare and the Medicaid lines of business. As many of you are aware, our core offerings span the BPaaS solutions across multiple lines of business. Medicare, we support the Medicare Advantage, the standalone part, the MAPD, MedSup, MedGap. On the Medicaid side, we serve both on the state side of business as well as the health plans or the MCOs. We are the fiscal agent for state of Missouri for over 40 years now. And on the individual market, we do offer the enrollment billing and reconciliation solution for the ACA exchange side of business. And on the group side, we have employer groups, small, medium, and large, hosted on our platform. So today, as we speak, from a scalability point of view, we have over 23 million Medicare lives on our platform, a little over 2 million lives on the Medicaid side, both state as well as on the MCO or the health plan. About a million duals are served on our platform, and 1/4 of ACA exchange lives are on our platform. That's about the overview of who we are and what we do. So under PayerAI Fields of Play portfolio, we offer three solution suites. So let me give a very brief overview before we deep dive into each one of those offerings. Payer in a Box, a very comprehensive platform covering enrollment, billing, encounter data processing, the reconciliation, the sales and brokerage side, as well as the claim solution. It's really a broad spectrum of services on the core administration side we offer. On the cognitive claim side, it's a AI-driven solution that are a plug-in kind of thing or a bolt-on solutions to existing ecosystems of the health plan. So we'll get into more details in next few minutes. On the contact center side, we offer a mix of Wipro's in-house AI agents as well as the market leading partner solutions, all powered by our NVIDIA backed AI infrastructure. As many of you know, innovation has been the center of what we do. The recent example was the Medicare prescription payment plan solution. We rolled out an end-to-end solution within like 6 months after CMS released the draft guidelines. So under the Payer in a Box, there are two initiatives I would like to highlight or the call out, driven primarily by the recent policy and the administrative shifts. What Priya was mentioning earlier. The first one is the unified enrollment and the billing across LOBs. So we anticipated budget cuts on the Medicaid and the ACA side of business. We see more and more health plans are seeking the operational efficiency, and we do offer a very consolidated enrollment and billing solution that spans across the Medicare, Medicaid, ACA, and the group business. So overall, health plans can look at this in an integrated or a unified enrollment and billing solution, which brings in a lot of operation cost savings as well as simplifying the operations across multiple lines of business. The other one I would like to call out within the Pair in a Box initiative is which is kind of like evolving in a very early stage to address the work requirements under one big beautiful act, which requires that 80 hours per month work for the able-bodied adults starting from 2027. So we are repurposing our member management system, which comes with inbuilt workflows, the analytics capabilities, the rules engine, and also the portals which are ready to use and customize as per health plans requirements. We have the member portal and as well as the call center or the associate portal. We do have, as part of the work requirement, one of the critical aspect is how do we easily integrate with various state systems. So we have the Connect 360 integration framework or the factory, which becomes very handy in terms of integrating with the state systems to collect the work related the evidences. This overall objective here is to help the state side as well as the health plans to retain the membership so that they can continue to have the coverage by meeting those, the federally mandated or the state mandated requirements. Please stay tuned on this initiative as we get more clarity on the requirements. We will roll out the product capabilities in phases. On the very briefly on the cognitive claims front, we offer two options. It's all AI driven initiative. The bolt-on or the plug-in AI agents which can fit into your existing ecosystem. You have your own claims engine, so you don't have to replace the claims engine. So the way these AI agents are structured or designed is to automate the processes around the core claims administration. So we are not looking at completely replacing the claims engine. This is to bring in those AI assets, plug into the existing ecosystem and realize the benefit. So the other option is if you want us to bring in our own claims engine, we can bring in that as well. So that's about the cognitive claim side. If I have to put it in a nutshell, it has those AI assets for the upstream, processes like prior authorization, the provider and the contract provider data and the contract management and the benefit configuration side. So we have built those AI agents around these processes on the upstream process as well as on the downstream side. We do have AI agents for reducing the manual effort in terms of the claims adjudication. We bring in AI agent for the partner-led payment integrity side. We have the AI agent for the appeal side, which is a mix of both in-house and partner solutions. On the contact center side, it's again both in-house AI agents as well as the partner solutions. We have the AI agents for the real-time AI agents for the accent neutralization as well as language translation. And we have Wipro inbuilt AI agents like the IVR, the Agent Assist, the Unified Desktop, and AI auditing tools. All of this built on Wipro's AI infrastructure powered by the NVIDIA chip. So we have invested in building the AI infrastructure specifically for the payer industries. These are the solution what I'm talking about, and we will get into more details in next few minutes. These are all deployed across multiple clients. They have delivered the measurable benefits, and we have seen customers getting benefited. And we continue to invest on enhancing the AI capabilities. Some of the benefits what we have seen our customers realizing in terms of reduced total cost of ownership or the operation cost. We have seen enhanced member and the provider satisfaction and minimized revenue leakage as well as the reduced IT spend. All of our AI solutions are secure, compliant, and responsibly designed with organization change management at the core of everything we do. Very, very important. The organization change management aspect, it's all consulting led. We bring in the team to look at the existing process, do a fit gap analysis, find out the areas where we can bring in those AI assets, and then manage the organization change on the health plan side or on the customer side. So with this, let me introduce my team that will provide much deeper dive into each one of these offerings. We'll start with Abhishek, who heads the cognitive claims initiative, followed by Shamik, who takes care of the customer experience and the contact center solutions, and then followed by Anshuman to deep dive into Pair in a Box initiatives. So now I will hand it over to Abhishek. Over to you, Abhishek.
So, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all of you. And thank you, Nagaraj, for sharing the details. So, as previously all of us mentioned, the current challenges faced by the payer and the health plans directly or indirectly impact the cost and the customer satisfaction. So, claim processing is a very crucial factor for any insurance company, and hence you can say it's a make or break point. And hence, in US healthcare system, the average auto adjudication rate is approximately 80 to 85% because the auto adjudication has the potential to streamline the processes and reduce the cost. However, despite its potential, it encounters multiple roadblocks, which Priya and Nagaraj mentioned, like such as inconsistent data, complex rule and integration issues, leading to challenges in the widespread adoption and the effectiveness. So this result in fallout in the first pass level, then multiple rework functions, need of second set of kind of eyes review, internal external appeals, along with a significant opportunity to safeguard against the overcharge through payment integrity. Now, all these functions mostly involve human intervention. And typically, when a claim requires human intervention, often due to the complexity or the automation fallout or the regulation change, the costs generally significantly go higher and average approximately $20 per claim it takes to complete a transaction if we need human intervention, and on top of that it takes days or weeks to kind of complete the claim. So taking all this factor into the consideration, we develop our solutions. So you can say Wipro automates the existing barrier of current automation enablers available in the payers ecosystem. But the existing automation available in the ecosystem can't automate, we automate those factors. So coming back to our offering, so once the auto adjudication is completed, Nagraj already mentioned that the claim processing, claim engine, and claim auto adjudication engine is also available with us. So it's completely, our offering is end to end. Payers can kind of opt in for the entire life cycle management system, where we'll support platform along with the point solution, and or the plug and play kind of model they can opt in for depending on the need. So once the auto adjudication is completed and claim open for manual review, our offerings in the first pass level ensure that the claim process with no or very limited human intervention. Typically what we see, once the fallout is there from the auto adjudication, we needs manual intervention, human intervention. So, but we say that you don't have to intervene. There is very limited human intervention is required if you opt in for our solution. It start with inventory segregation, business partner routes to the, and then complex claim processing and everything. Now we believe in enhancing our solution. We don't just build the solution and keep it as it is. So we keep on enhancing it, and that is why when people talk about agentic AI claim processing, we have successfully developed the proof point for agentic AI of two of our clients, both of which are among the top 10 Fortune payers. So in the first pass place, Then move to the rework space. Our offering focus towards cost optimization, assistive processing, and complex scenarios such as duplicate corrected, authorization validation, and everything. We all know that end-to-end claim of processing offering in the rework space is very difficult because it's a complex process. When the claim we need to do rework, it is a complex process, obviously, and hence we ensure that how we can ease the manual intervention, and we can reduce the manual intervention, how quickly we can and accurately we can finalize the rework claims. And that is why our offerings are focused towards enabling and ensuring that adjudicators or agents are taking ample supports while they are handling the rework claim. And our best offering in the rework space is primarily based on the Gen AI based chatbot. It is to simplify the guidance of the SOP. So no more adjudicator doesn't have to kind of look into 100, 200, 300 pages of SOP, navigate and get the right answer, or follow the claim processing guidelines. Instead of that, they just need to type their question in the chatbot. Our chatbot is smart enough to kind of give the crisp answer to the user. And on top of that, this chatbot has self learning capability. It has the self learning capability. You don't have to train it multiple time. It can read the SOP by its own whenever there is a change and give the current answer to the user. And I move to the next offering, that is our we all know, maintaining appeals arena is not easy. It involves huge manpower cost, review cost, and everything. So there our offering focus towards end-to-end appeal review management process. So it's starting with complete automation in the triage process, leveraging OCR and NLP technology, where medical documents reading, appeal form reading, everything will be done automatically and give the answer to the agent. On top of that agent, there are multiple AI agent which we built, which are capable to navigate through the payer system, check if the guidelines are followed or not, and then overturn and uphold the appeals. On top of that, it rectifies the claim as well. So you can say the agentic AI based processing also we deploy in the appeals arena. That is the end-to-end offering we have. Now comes to the payment integrity, fraud, waste, and abuse review, which actually work as a safety net for all of the payers. So it focuses on cost savings, overcharge protection, and maintain a healthy financial profile for the payer. Now our offering in this space is very unique. It's a combination of in-house and partner solutions. So primarily we focus towards enabling the audit in the pre-payment and the post-payment stage, especially factorizing the data mining options to kind of identify the anomalies and then review this further. So you can say in the prepay and post-pay stage, we have audit solutions to ensure that we safeguard the overpayment. At the same time, the partner solution which we have, that primarily focus towards shifting to the left in the sense extreme left, how upstream we can go and fix the thing that will ensure that the we can avoid the cost. So one of them is a provider education. So we go ahead and ensure that we educate to the provider, so that provider build the claim correctly at the first go, and we don't have to bear the cost of multiple denial, rework on the claim, reconsideration, everything can be avoided. So this is the true shift left, and you can say it's a payment integrity, part of payment integrity, to avoid the cost in upfront. And our AI is compatible and responsible, and at the same time advanced enough to identify what are the areas can be fixed in upstream, and which can kind of complement the auto audit processing, auto adjudication processing. So we have the example where, well, average auto adjudication rate is 80 to 85%. We help our clients to improve it to 95 to 96% through our shift left program. Now, since we are talking about upstream processes, upstream is very, very important to ensure that the claims in the downstream processes are processed correctly by the either auto adjudicator engine or the other automation enablers. And there we have our offerings in the pre-auth, provider contract, and provider credential and benefit configuration part. It ensures that the advanced and automation led upstream process management. So while people talk about processing this upstream, I mean managing these upstream processes, through human intervention, we say that human intervention is needed, but it's very nominal. Human intervention is needed. Our solution will be able to manage these processes effectively. So you can say Wipro does not only offer this solution, we manage the entire life cycle of the claim processing. So moving to the next slide, Shivani. Yeah. So here, why Wipro and how we are different? So I can say all the solutions and offering I mentioned in the earlier slide are not only part of our itinerary. It's all what we have deployed or in the development stage for multiple of our clients. So you can say 20 plus years of experience we have in solution development, consulting led offering, and at the same time tailoring the solutions basis on the need, and implement into the payers environment. You don't have to take out the data and apply or leverage our solution. Our solution can easily integrate into your system, and that is what we have experienced. And we basically focus towards moving from a capex to an opex model for small and medium payer. Now, value proposition perspective, we help the client to reduce their overall cost of ownership by 40 to 50%. And at the same time, we observe that 20 to 30% effort reduction that automatically improve the efficiency. And there is a reduction in the late payment interest and the cost optimization in the downstream processes as well. So all these are what we realize post implementing our solutions into the environment. So simple example I will give. So accurate and faster claim processing reduce the downstream ticket volume, call volumes, and this is how you can avoid the cost, and it is a true cost savings for our customer. So I'll take a pause here and wait for the question and answers. Discuss in the question and answer section. Now I will hand it over to the next speaker, Shamik.
So we have been doing this in Wipro for the healthcare payers for last 23 years. And what is unique about us that we have been doing it out of India for last 23 years. Now the dynamics have changed. Now, we're getting different payers who are coming and moving business from Philippines to India. So that's where we bring our grit and understanding of this particular landscape of serving providers or customers, members from the healthcare payer sector. And our offering, what it brings to the table is basically, if you look at this slide that's currently displaying on the screen, you'd be able to understand that there is an approach of self-service AI solution, which is the first touch point that happens when you reach a contact center, and it is trying to contain and resolve those queries for the members or the customers or the providers autonomously, and any fallout that happens within that particular ecosystem is what moves out to a human in loops in service, where there are the AI agent solutions which is assisting the human in loop to ensure the resolution of that particular query happens on that particular call, or if there's certain other transfers required or some other department needs to be pulled in, then those are executed, and an FCR happens at the first point of touch itself for the member. And this also ensures the satisfaction of the member is at a higher level compared to where they would have to end up in a traditional contact center model. Probably they would have made callbacks, try to understand, get the query resolved, and things like that. And I will quickly jump on to the next slide, which will give you a much more pictorial understanding of how this is laid out. So what you see on the screen initially is the multimodal bots, which is basically trying to resolve for the very initial level of queries, or getting the validations done based on the HIPAA requirements or the CMS guidelines and so on, and trying to understand what is the query and accordingly route it to a particular channel. And once you move from there, what you see is an IVR AI agent. So this IVR AI agent has the ability to, or the intelligence to process natural language. So what it happens at this point of time is that the member is no longer constrained in a traditional IVR where they're going round robins and not able to figure out what prompt to press, what is the right way to ask a question so that the IVR responds back to them. So what it means is that they do not need to be technically sound or correct to get an information, right? So this IVR at its capability at run currently it is deployed across multiple of our customers that we are handling. It runs at a maturity level of approximately 85% and is able to handle or contain 30% of the call volume that is hitting the contact center within the category of low complex and medium low complex. And once any fallouts that happens out of this in a traditional contact center, it would usually get routed to a human in loop based on the skill. But this IVR is a little different. It is intelligent from the traditional one. What it does is that it routes the call based on the capability of the human who is servicing or the rep who's servicing a particular line of business. What it means is that, for example, if that particular call is related to a claim query, and there are, let's say, 5 different rep who are servicing that contact center line of business, the AI has an understanding based on the data analytics that is happening at the back end and getting fed into the IVR, that out of those 5 agents, who is more capable to service this particular call category. So based on the availability, if that particular rep is available, the call will first get routed to that particular rep to get that query resolved or serviced, so that the member has a better experience and a faster call resolution happens at a lower talk time that for giving the resolution to the customer, because the capability of that particular individual is higher. And in this particular layer, we also have something which is speech AI, right? These are OTS or off the shelf solutions. This does not need 18 months of LLM training. These are already pre-trained. You can just pick it up tomorrow and plug it in your contact center and it'll just start working, absolutely fine. So these are two sets of speech AI that comes into play. One is a real-time AI language translation. What it does is that it has the capability to translate on a real-time basis majority of the non-English languages, and gives you the mobility to go to a low cost region to service your customers and not get stuck in the high cost regions with high language multilingual resources who come at a cost and so on. And there is a real time AI accent neutralization. This also comes into play where it takes care of the heavy MTI influence that we see in some of the specific regions across the globe. So this also helps you to move into a low cost service regions and centers. So this AI accent utilization, we are approximately near about 3,000 plus FTs right now, that is currently in deployed and in play as I speak with you. And we are servicing members, and we have seen drastic improvement in the NPS scores and the CSAT scores based on the kind of satisfaction that they get. And because the MTI is removed, you don't have to repeat yourself. The voice quality is more crisp. You're able to understand the rep at one single go itself. It comes with inbuilt bidirectional noise cancellations and so on. So it kind of it's an it adds it's like a cherry to the cake or the topping that kinds of makes the conversation more interactive and more clear, and does not include those MTIs, which is kind of at times irritates the customer because they're not able to understand you. Moving ahead from there, we have the in-call AI, which is basically the agent assist, right? This is what Nagaraj was talking about, the NVIDIA AI architecture that we have invested in and so on. And this kind of helps the human loop to get the right information at the first time itself, provide all collateral information so that there is no repeat calls that are happening from the member or the customer end, right? And the customer is going to go back with one single information laid out in a proper structure, because it also puts the information. What happens in healthcare, as you all of you be aware, right? In the most of the simplest queries, you at least touch 2 to 3 screens to give that resolution to the customer, right? Now when you're doing that, it basically what happens is that you're giving the information in a chopped fashion, right? So if it's a non-tech, if it's not a provider for the member, it becomes a struggle to understand the chopped format of information. So what this AI agent assist also does is basically it also lays out the construct of how the information need to go out. So it's in a continuous flow, becomes easier for the customer to comprehend and grab onto that information, right? does those after call summarization and so on. It's currently deployed across a few of our customers within their environment. So that is another beauty, that it does not need the LLM to be sent out to some other cloud, which becomes a security concern for the payers and so on, right? And then what we also have is the post call AI, where the AI auditor comes into play, which does the 100% of the QA screening, right? And based on this, it also kind of goes ahead and flags that which particular rep is at what capability matrix. So that information is basically fed in back into the IVR agent, which I spoke few minutes back, for it to transfer to a highly capable available rep within that particular skill group or line of business, right? And then we have the sentiment analytics, some call it speech analytics and so on, which is basically a post call analytics of the interaction that has happened to identify what are the gaps, right? Flag those gaps. Are there any patterns that we are able to identify for a particular member, that all certain, which does not actually need to hit your contact center, increase your wait time and so on, but those could be resolved through an automated call out or reach out program. So that is the lay of the land at this point of time, how we are moving from a traditional to a more of an AI powered next gen contact center. And then eventually it becomes an autonomous solution, which is more of an agentic solution. That's how it matures at the end of its life cycle. So can we move on to the next slide, please?
Probably you can wrap it up in a minute or so.
Absolutely. So what you get if you out of it is that all these are bolt-on solutions. You can pick any one of them, right? You can take the entire solution as a CAS. What it brings to your table or to your pocket is basically the reducing the cost of ownership by 40 to 45%. There is an improvement of 20-25% of the member satisfaction, right? And we also other thing is that all these AI models that you have seen is absolutely auditable and traceable. So it is not just an AI which is functioning at its will, but it is audited, traceable. So it has all those checkpoints in place to ensure that's an ethical AI that's in play, right? And it is just not functioning or hallucinating at any given point of time.
Yes, I'll keep it very concise. So what is Wipro Pair in a Box? It's a unified BPaaS platform that has multiple products and solutions, all coming together to cater to the needs of multiple lines of business, be it Medicare, Medicaid, individual, group, and PBMs, all in one place. Currently, as Nagaraj already mentioned, we are serving more than 25 million members in our platform. Our Med Advantage 360 solution, components like ENE 360, E-Enroll 360, Member 360, and Billing 360 comes with the built-in automation to make the process, the agent onboarding, commission management, and end-to-end member management process very easy. Revenue 360 helps to reconcile membership with financial data. Analytics 360 helps to get better decisions. Um, EDPS GT 360 is our encounter submission. Connect 360 is the integration framework, and appeals AG 360 is the appeals and grievances system. The Exchange Link is an end-to-end health exchange platform. It connects to all the public marketplaces. It streamlines the core operation, sales, and customer service through 6 integrated modules. The Service Link, it manages the eligibility, enrollment, billing, and administration. Sales Link, the marketing, quoting, underwriting, and commissions. Get Next, workflows, and reduces the operational cost. Recon Link is about reconciliation. Data Link is about smarter decision making. Loyalty Link is about sales and retention of the licensed agents. When CMS introduced the new Medicare prescription payment plan, Wipro was quick to respond with its own solution, MPPP 360. It's a very comprehensive solution built to manage the entire prescription payment process of the Part D beneficiaries. It's a great example of just how flexible and adaptable the platform really is. The platform scalable design support millions of members, again proven by MPPP 360 performance. We are currently partnered to 2 large PBMs and over 70 plus health plans. On top of that, by leveraging the AI-enabled product development lifecycle, the platform continues to expand and at a much faster rate. As part of the federal budget, we are coming up with a new solution that is MK360 to help the MCOs comply with the work requirement reporting regulation. If Shivani, if you can move to the next slide, please. Let me highlight a couple of reasons why we stand out. First, the platform is super scalable and flexible. It can easily handle millions of members and quickly adapt to new market needs or regulation. Second, everything we build is modular. That means health plans can pick and choose what they need. And lastly, we have got the compliance covered. We make sure the platform always meets the regulations, the CMS regulations, and Wipro takes care of all the updates at no extra cost. Typically, our customers experience a 20 to 30% boost in operational efficiency, along with a 30% reduction in operational cost. So keeping it concise and in summary, Wipro's Pair in a Box enables the health plans to scale, to stay compliant and streamline operations, all through a flexible end-to-end unified platform. And with that, I will hand it over to Sumanta.
Anshuman, and thank you everyone for joining the webinar. I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce our esteemed customer, Dave Micah. Dave is an industry leader in the healthcare industry. Currently, he's the Senior Vice President, Business Operations in Independent Health. And just to set the context before Dave comes in, Independent Health and Wipro collaborated specifically for the Medicare Prescription Payment Plan initiative mandated by CMS as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. And it's been a fantastic journey together. So I wanted to invite Dave to come and share a little bit about Independent Health, the whole journey that he has taken, and also how Wipro and Independent Health have partnered together.
You know, Independent Health, we are a small or mid-sized regional health plan in Western New York, serving Buffalo, city of Buffalo, and the 8 counties of Western New York. Just for a little background, we service commercial, fully insured and self-funded plans, Medicare Advantage, where we have about 68,000 covered lives, and then New York State products, including Medicaid and essential products. We have a couple of key affiliates that are under our umbrella. One in particular that's critical in this conversation is our PBM. It's Pharmacy Benefits Dimensions. So, as Sumanta mentioned, you know, the Inflation Reduction Act that was passed in August of 2023 brought with it some requirements that necessitated us moving very quickly to try to find a solution to address some of what the M3P program was geared for coming out of CMS, and that was really to help our Medicare members address the challenges they were facing with high out-of-pocket prescription costs. So within that program, we needed to quickly find a solution that would help us pay pharmacies up front for prescription costs, as the initial burden of the prescription out-of-pocket costs would fall to the health plan. And then we would begin to bill members on a monthly basis to collect those out-of-pocket costs over the course of a calendar year. So, and we needed to do it in a way that was ultimately, you know, as seamless as possible to our members. Much like the rest of my presentation, time was of the essence here. So, but in this case, you know, time, you know, making sure that we got things right, non-compliance with this program really would deal a blow to our Medicare Advantage plan, which is a critical plan for us in our marketplace. And, you know, you risk regulatory concerns, reputational risk, compliance risk, et cetera. So if we can move to the next slide, please. So, you know, we did take a tack of saying, all right, we're posed with some significant requirements and very challenging requirements, but how do we do this in a way that helps us maintain our exceptionally high rankings in the industry, specifically within the Medicare Advantage industry, where at one point, we were the only plan in the country that was rated 5 stars across all Medicare lines of business. And today, we still hold somewhat of a distinction as being a 5-star plan for most of our products, other than one product that is a 4.5 star plan. We also are exceptionally high in the CAHPS ratings and NCQA, et cetera. We often rank in the top 5 of the country in most of those ratings. So our member experience is critical to us. So, but here we're faced with some challenges of where to turn, because there weren't a lot of solutions out in the marketplace. Building our own for this type of program would have been exceptionally complex, as you'll hear as I get a little deeper. So our PBM, their system, their core system, was working on a solution, but as we saw that solution and got to see more and more of it, it seemed like vaporware to us. So a chance meeting between a sales executive at Wipro and the gentleman who is now our CIO back at Independent Health. These two were colleagues and happened to be neighbors. They were talking one day, and next thing I know it, I'm having a cup of coffee at a local Starbucks with Nani, and we're talking about Wipro's solution that they are working on for M3P. In very short order, we, after some high-level conversations and really not getting into the depth that we normally get into when we engage with a vendor, we decided we like what we're saying to each other, and we're going to, make the leap and trust each other to move forward and move into something that's going to help us be compliant with this. So, and again, needed to pay pharmacies, manage member billing and collections over time. And we can move to the next slide. So again, we took a chance and jumped into it. And I'm going to say that we probably started in earnest late in March of 2024 to put something in place that the first deliverables need to be in place by October of 2024, just in advance of the AEP that starts in mid-October. So the first step was foundational capabilities, making sure we can capture member election processes and their eligibility and handle all of the correspondence associated with that. The next phase got into, once we got live in January 1 of 2025, making sure all of our operational components were functional and working. Biggest thing is members were going to show up at the pharmacy on January 1st, and those that were in the know already would take advantage of this new program that CMS had put in place. And then the third step was delivery of remaining functionality, including gateway integrations, banking arrangements, and ways to handle the cash flow in between various systems. Some of the highlights of the implementation process: not only was it an extremely compressed timetable we were working in, but most of Wipro's clients in this space were PBMs, where they're working directly with the PBM, who was working directly with their pharmacy claims system and had a lot of things self-contained. We were not. So we're transferring between our pharmacy claim system, our core system at Independent Health, with and then involving many other systems in the process. And ultimately, we needed to set up information flow in some way, shape, or form between 12 disparate systems. Certainly an incredible task. I mean, working with one vendor on a project like this can be challenging enough and significant enough, especially within the time frame we were working. You bring into play 12 different systems and vendors for most, unique vendors for most of those. It was, to say the least, a challenge. And what I will tell you is that the other piece was the communications. Within all of this, we had to hammer out communications that would quickly get our Medicare market and our Medicare members up to speed on this program, but also all of our pharmacies up to speed, because ultimately when the member shows up at the pharmacy, we need our pharmacies and the people working the pharmacies to understand the program and help us make it a seamless experience for our members. So a lot of communications and whatnot. What I can tell you in a nutshell, working over that very short period of time and working through that short period of time with a high number of people at Wipro to help us through this, as well as the other vendors we were working with. But the responsiveness from our friends at Wipro was just incredible. And we were reacting to changes coming from CMS. I said we started around the end of March, but guidelines were changing within the regulations right through the end of July. And today, those guidelines continue to change. So, in some respects, it was very much like changing tires on a moving bus. I will tell you, I'm going to read for you a quote. When I talked to our project lead, so what stood out for you more than anything during this implementation process? I'll read you the quote. She told me, Wipro is the most impressive, and she stressed that, and responsive vendor I've ever worked with. Throughout the implementation, they met all of their commitments, often scheduling meetings on less than a day's notice or even an hour's notice. The commitment, the dedication was absolutely incredible. And I would say that right from the first conversation I had with Nani back over the winter at that Starbucks, right through to today, as I continue to work very closely with Samantha and some of the others that are here today. We can go to the next slide, please. That's something that we'll continue to enjoy that relationship as we move forward. Where we are today, we have 550 members enrolled out of our 68,000. Now, that may sound like a small number. In some respects, it's a good thing for us because, ultimately the health plan has to, share that financial burden throughout the course of the year with the member. But we are, and it has allowed us to really work through any of the kinks that we did run into, as you would with any new system that's deployed like this. We are fully compliant with CMS regulations, and that's the most critical piece. So from a regulatory standpoint, we made it, and we made it together with Wipro, and we still are there today. The big thing is we have that framework and a reliable vendor partner to help us keep up with current compliance as well as future things that are changing. And as I said, anybody working within the framework of CMS knows it's a very dynamic environment from a regulatory standpoint. And overall, there are still some things that we want to build on. We want to increase some of the automation on our end, and then continue to work with Wipro as we put the system through its paces. There's a lot of moving parts and a lot of different pieces to the system. But we know we have a reliable reliable vendor, and one committed to ensuring that our members have that seamless integration with this system, and that ultimately we have satisfied our members throughout all of this. And again, I'm happy to report it's been exceptionally positive experience for our members. So
thank you so much, Dave. I can tell you that you are the first one to sign up for the MPP when we launched the beta version, and good to hear that everything went well. We look forward to your guidance and helping you with your business. Thank you so much.
As do we, Nagraj, and you guys have been really great partners through this, and look forward to a good relationship going forward. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today, and have a wonderful rest of the day.